here we have a spectacular piece of history of Cork that is worth seeing. So, this is what you would have been fighting. Well, you can see why they built the fort here. It is an impressive view of Cork itself. As you can see for miles, mind you, the view would have been different in 1601. The original fort was built in Queen Elizabeth's first time of Queen Elizabeth I, but it was demolished after she died because the people of Cork were fearful that the fort might be used against them, so they demolished them. However, in 1624-26, Lord Mountjoy, well, he made them rebuild the fort at their own expense. So this is 1626 and 1624. So the 17th century, this was the fort of Cork. It's like any other city. Cork is getting apartments rebuilt up here. Well, can you imagine there? You're here and you've got somebody coming to attack you, besiege. What we have here is what they used to load the cannons here. All these different materials. Push the charge through, the powder and everything. This bloke here's got the cannonball, but this is the size of the cannonballs. Mind you, they didn't have shrapnel back then. Shrapnel wasn't invented until the 19th century, and so what happened was they were just smashing through things, you know, bowl people over. And this is one of the cannons they used. It's actually very small. Touch it, boom! It will send the cannonball flying over the enemy. And this is how they used to send a message to the enemies back in the day in the 17th century. They used to cut off their heads and put them on spikes and say, don't do this again. Okay, now we're going to climb up these stairs. It's been spectacular so far, just exploring this fortress. It's actually in a star-shaped pattern. But you see how narrow the streets are. That's about the same width as it was back in the medieval times. And you can see just how big this wall is. This is where you'll be shooting your rifle and your crossbow through there at the enemy they're attacking. Mind you, the view would have been a little bit different, and this bar wouldn't have been here. But imagine the soldiers there just firing their weapons, firing the crossbows at the enemy, advancing. Now back in the day, they wouldn't have had this handrail. No such thing as health and safety back in the day. The reason why that it's built in a star-shaped is because it to protect the walls from cannons. When Oliver Cromwell rampaged through Ireland, he used cannon very effectively against defensive walls, but the whole idea was to deflect, so the cannons couldn't really just pound them straight onwards, so the star shape made it a bit harder for them to. So that's the theory anyway. Yep, these are very steep stairs, hence the rail. But back in the day they didn't have these steep. They didn't have a handrail, they had to run down. I'm sure many a soldier tripped when he's racing down to get in the heat of battle. Here we have the stocks. This was used to shame criminals. That's the pin, and they would raise it up, and the person would be forced to sit here and face a jeering crowd of people throwing rotten fruit and vegetables, dung at them. People just copping abuse. So you can imagine that you're stuck here with your head between and your hands hanging out, exposed to the elements. Wouldn't have been pleasant. It would have been up to a couple of hours or a couple of days. Wouldn't have been pretty. This fort, it's amazing that this fort is still here after all this time. It's just so well built, just incredible. Just the effort that they put in to building this. This is one of the surviving air raid shelters here in Ireland during the Second World War. Even though Ireland was neutral during the Second World War, it was feared that the Germans might try and invade Ireland or even bomb Ireland, so they built air raid shelters throughout Ireland. And you can see, there we go, used as a communication centre, very basic. Well, this is an incredible place to visit. It's well worth the trip to come here and see Elizabeth Fort. When you're in Cork, make sure you come here. It is truly, truly an amazing place.